traveling out of state. All
No,
right.
what happened is because of the change of the clocks,
Yeah.
I can't do it other than at this time when the
At this
clocks
time.
change.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I live in an apartment complex with over
Okay.
600, and I have to be careful about the
Noise.
volume. And
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
so I'm
Well,
good
Hare
until
Krishna.
November.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace NIRANTARA Prabhu, our beloved uncle and great uncle to some of us. And all glories to the assembled Vaishnavi devotees. Today is Friday, the 20th of June, 2025. It's amazing. The year is halfway gone.
Yes.
And it is a blessing that we have our beloved uncle speaking to us today. For which I believe you have two verses today.
That is correct.
Yes. So without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen or the verses on the screen, and then you take it over from
Okay, I'm
Hare
ready to
Krishna.
roll.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 30. Bhuyastvang tapa atishta vidyang chaiva mad asrayam tabyam antarhridi brahman lokan drakyasi apavritan. Bhuya, again. Tvam, yourself. Tapa, penance. Atishta, be situated. Vidyam, in the knowledge. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Mat, my. Ashrayam, under the protection. Tabyam, by those qualifications. Anta, within. Hridi, in the heart. Brahman, O Brahmana. Lokan, all the worlds. Draksyasi, you will see. Apavritan, all disclosed. O Brahma, situate yourself in penance and meditation, and follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. By these actions, you will be able to understand everything from within your heart. Purport: the mercy the Lord bestows upon a particular person engaged in executing the responsible work entrusted unto him is beyond imagination. But his mercy is received due to our penance and perseverance in executing devotional service. Brahma was entrusted with the work of creating the planetary systems. The Lord instructed him that when he meditated, he would very easily know where and how the planetary systems must be arranged. The directions were to come from within, and there was no necessity for anxiety in that task. Such instructions of Buddhi Yoga are directly imparted by the Lord from within, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 10. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 31. Tata Atmani Lokecha Bhakti Yukta Samahita Drastasi Mang Tatang Brahman Mayi lokang tvam atmanaha. Tata, thereafter. Atmani, in yourself. Loke, in the universe. Cha, also. Bhakti yukta, being situated in devotional service. Samahita, being completely absorbed. Drashta asi, you will see. Mam, me. Tatam, spread throughout. Brahman, O Brahma. Mai, in me. Lokan, all the universe. Tvam, you. Atmanaha, the living entities. O Brahma, when you are absorbed in devotional service, in the course of your activities, you will see me in you and throughout the universe. And you will see that you yourself, the universe, and the living entities are all in me. Purport. It is cited herein by the Lord that during his daytime, Brahma would see him as Lord Sri Krishna. He would appreciate how the Lord expanded himself into all the calves during his childhood at Vrindavan. He would know how Yashoda Mayi saw all the universes and planetary systems within the mouth of Krishna during his playful childhood pastimes. And he would also see that there are many millions of Brahmas during the appearance of Lord Krishna in Brahma's daytime. But all these manifestations of the Lord, appearing everywhere in his eternal transcendental forms, cannot be understood by anyone but the pure devotees, who are always engaged in devotional service to the Lord and are fully absorbed in the Lord. The high qualifications of Brahma are also indicated herein. So, today I'm focusing on the Bhagavad Gita verse that Prabhupada referred to in the first shloka of today. And that is the famous 10th chapter, 10th verse, part of the Chatushloki of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada writes in the second canto, chapter 9, that just as there are 4 nutshell or seed verses in the Bhagavatam, known as Chatushloki, there is also a Chatushloki, or nutshell seed verses in the Gita, and that, of course, Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, 8, 9, 10, and 11, those verses. So, the first excerpt I want to read to you is how this verse appears in the Adi Leela when Krishnadas Kaviraj is explaining in the first chapter Guru Tattva, the truth of the spiritual master. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj also includes the entire verse. Teshang satata yuktanang bhajatang priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tang yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Here's Prabhupada's purport to that verse. This verse clearly states how Govinda Dev instructs his bona fide devotee. The Lord declares that by enlightenment in theistic knowledge, Krishna awards attachment for him to those who constantly engage in his transcendental loving service. This awakening of divine consciousness enthralls a devotee, who thus relishes one's eternal transcendental mellow. Such an awakening is awarded only to those convinced by devotional service about the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead. They know that the supreme truth, the all-spiritual and all-powerful person, is one without a second and has fully transcendental senses. He is the fountainhead of all emanations. Such pure devotees, always merged in knowledge of Krishna and absorbed in Krishna consciousness, exchange thoughts and realizations as great scientists exchange their views and discuss the results of their research in scientific academies. Such exchanges of thoughts in regard to Krishna give pleasure to the Lord, who therefore favors such devotees with all enlightenment. Then again, in the Adi Leela, chapter 8, there is an excerpt in the purport to that verse, where Prabhupada refers to this Gita verse. This should be the attitude of all devotees. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead recognizes a devotee, he gives one intelligence and dictates how he or she may go back home, back to Godhead. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 10. Teshang satata yuktanang bhajatang priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tang yenamam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. The opportunity to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord is open to everyone, because every living entity is constitutionally a servant of the Lord. To engage in the service of the Lord is the natural function of the living entity. But because one is covered by the influence of Maya, the material energy, one thinks it to be a very difficult task. But if one places oneself under the guidance of a spiritual master and does everything sincerely, immediately the Lord, who is situated within everyone's heart, dictates how to serve him. Dadami buddhi yogam tan. The Lord gives this direction, and thus the devotee's life becomes perfect. Whatever a pure devotee does is done by the dictation of the Supreme Lord. This is confirmed by the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that whatever he wrote was written under the direction of Sri Madan Mohan deity. Then, of course, here is Prabhupada's purport as found in the Gita for this verse, 10:10. In this verse, the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Now, Buddhi Yoga is explained. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his or her action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna. And when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows that the goal of life, but is addicted to the fruits of activities, one is acting in karma yoga. When one knows that the goal is Krishna, but takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, one is acting in jnana yoga. And when one knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, one is acting in bhakti yoga or buddhi yoga, which is the complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But if one is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives one instructions so that one may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. One should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives one a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to Him. So that is my research on today's verses. And now, if you permit me, I would like to share with you my latest personal realizations, if I may do so. Thank you, Sahadev Das, my good friend. So, in this beginning of this year, I started by simply reading only the purports to Bhagavad Gita. I've gone through the Gita so many times, but this year I wanted to see what's the Gita when you just read the purports. And I was astounded how Prabhupada is so consistent and repeats the conclusions over and over and over. And what is the main things that keep coming up is that Prabhupada in the Gita stresses accepting a spiritual master. This point he hammers so often. And then, more so than anything, devotional service, over and over again. The conclusion is a guru, devotional. Now, even in today's excerpts, again, Prabhupada said it, and then he added another one, association of devotees. Very, very important, because human beings naturally are social animals. It is human nature to want to be with others. So by Prabhupada creating ISKCON, which even to this day, many people don't even understand what is ISKCON? I deal with so many Indian people, and ISKCON is a puzzle to them. They don't really get it. But ISKCON is simply Prabhupada's protection, because on our own, independently, you're not going to overcome the stringent laws of material nature. It's impossible. We need to be in association. So, this Zoom class, paka, because we're associating. Because the next thing, and this has been a problem since day one, that associating in ISKCON means we discuss Krishna. That's the real meaning of this word Ishtagoshti. We discuss Krishna. Or we discuss how to improve our devotional service. It's not meant for anything else. We should be talking about Krishna, Krishna's service, and how we can improve. And if I want to be a good devotee, then my mood should be, how can I help you? How can I serve you? Not it's about me. No. If I'm going to come in the association of devotees, then I have to be concerned with enlivening and being enthusiastic for others. So, Prabhupada has given us, everything is here. Everything is here. So, I am reading now Bhagavatam, starting from the beginning. Again, the purports. And Prabhupada is showing us little by little by little how to be Krishna conscious. Prabhupada just wants us to be Krishna conscious. And at the same time, as we are ourselves becoming Krishna conscious, how to help others to be Krishna conscious. That is why we are a preaching movement. And this is what many people don't understand. That ISKCON is not just another Hindu temple. Far from it. No. ISKCON is a preaching institution. Every aspect of ISKCON is for preaching. Even deity worship is meant to be preaching. Every aspect, whether it's prasadam distribution, book distribution, sankirtan, if we do festivals, everything is with the intention, how can we increase the number of devotees, and how can we present Krishna consciousness so that others become enlivened and enthused. Just like Ratha Yatra, another example. Ratha Yatra now is global. It's not just in Jagannath Puri. Prabhupada took Jagannath and brought him to the West. And is Jagannath Ratha Yatra in Africa? Yes, you do. Africa. See? Now, my dream, here's my dream. Ratha Yatra in Saudi Arabia. That would be astounding. Someday, I don't know now, someday. Yes, because Lord Chaitanya's mission, every town and village And I very much appreciate how Prabhupada sent his devotees, and Prabhupada himself went to Africa. And I have one of my best friends, Prabhu Das. He spent some time in Africa with Prabhupada preaching. Brahmananda, Navayogendra Swami, and others. Prabhupada was completely off the bodily concept of life. Prabhupada was willing to go he came to Boston, New York. What did Prabhupada say when he got to Boston? Oh my Lord, why have you brought me to this horrible place? Oh my God. People think, oh, Boston, New York, this is great, the Big Apple. But Prabhupada said, why have you brought me to this horrible place? Yes, because Prabhupada's a Vaikuntha man. And coming to the West, dirty, smelly. But Prabhupada was willing to go to hell just to give Krishna consciousness to others. Yes, I have always said the greatest day, at least in American history, I'm American, sorry, but the greatest day in American history, the day Prabhupada arrived in Boston Harbor. Forget your July 4th, this, that, the other, and all these silly holidays. No. The main holiday, when Prabhupada arrived in Boston and then New York, alone, nobody, just depending on Krishna. At the age of 70, come on. That's why I stick with Prabhupada. Because he came on his own and delivered us Malechas and Yavanas. I'm a Malecha Yavana. Yes. I'm not born some Paka Brahmin. I was born Malecha Yavana. But Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's devotees, Prabhupada's prasad, and Prabhupada himself, if you somehow or other come in contact, there is every chance to be delivered, every chance to be saved. That's all Prabhupada wants to do. Prabhupada's mood is just like Prahlad Maharaj. We studied recently all about Prahlad and Nisringa. I gave so many classes on Prahlad and Nisringa. And Prahlad, what was his prayer? One of his prayers was, my Lord, as for myself, I have no anxiety. I'm simply hearing and chanting. I'm happy. But I'm concerned for all the fools and rascals. Yes, the fools and rascals that are all around. There's no problem. There's no, Prabhu, where can I find a fool and rascal? Well, start with yourself first. But just look around you. As soon as you walk out the door, you're in fools and rascals loka. Just walk out the door, and there you go. So Prahlad Maharaj said, I don't want to go back alone. No, I'm concerned. And that was also Prabhupada's mood, and he said it. I have the clue for going back to Godhead, and I want to bring as many people with me. And those who are Bhagyavan, there's this word, Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai, so Bhagyavan, one who is fortunate. So all of you African devotees, I bow down to you. I bow down to you because you have gotten the mercy of Prabhupada. Now, don't lose it. That is a problem. Therefore, I had to be very careful about offenses. Why does Lord Chaitanya warn us what to wear around our neck? Humility, 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 humility. Yes, if you're not humble, you can't preach. But if you're a real devotee and you want to, and Prabhupada said, if you want to repay me, then give this Krishna consciousness to others. That's all Prabhupada wants us to do. Two things. First of all, take Krishna consciousness ourselves. Charity begins at home. So, sadhana. Personal sadhana. Every day, keep yourself fit. Just like where I live. I see so many people early in the morning, 5 o'clock. What are they doing? Running, doing exercises. Because they understand, oh, health is important. But what about your spiritual health? So that's what Prabhupada is getting us up early in the morning for our spiritual health. Now, once I am spiritually fixed up, or shall we say spiritually buff, then give it, give it, give it. And what do we learn from the Adi Leela, the members of the Panchatattva, who Srivas Thakur was one of such? Yes, today is also a day to remember Srivas Thakur, Narada Muni in the Leela of Lord Chaitanya. And Narada Muni is one of my favorite heroes. I love Narada Muni because he can go anywhere. He has his Veena Tambura. He can go, he can just go anywhere. No airplane, just, Narada Muni, Srivas Thakur. So the Panchatattva, that Adi Leela chapter 7, which originally that Adi Leela chapter 7 was a separate book. It was one of the first books I really studied. When I joined in 73, that book had just come out. That one chapter was a separate book, the Adi Leela chapter 7. And it was called Lord Chaitanya in 5 Features. That's how it was called. And the picture on the cover was Lord Chaitanya sitting after he had washed his feet, and Prakashananda Saraswati is extending his hand. So that whole chapter 7, I used to read it every day when I was a new devotee. I would go out on the subways of New York and try to distribute books and collect donations on the New York subways. And in between trains, I had that book and I would read it. And I would get so much encouragement from those purports. It made me so ecstatic to read that Adi Leela chapter 7. And I learned so much basic philosophy from that one book, one chapter. That's the beauty of Prabhupada's books. Even a chapter. What he even said, even one shloka, even one line, even they touched the book. Unbelievable. So, in that Adi Leela, the opening, there's 2 parts. So the first part is understanding the Panchatattva and how they indiscriminately gave love of Godhead. They didn't make any distinction. This person, that, no. Anyone and everyone. And then it was mentioned by Krishnadas Kaviraj that the nature of this preaching of Sankirtan is that as you give, you also get. It's not like in the material world. Say I have $100. Okay, I'm going to make a donation, $100 to the temple. Okay, my bank account is $100 less. The temple has gotten $100. That's very nice. That's materially. But when we give anything of Krishna, whether it be anything, my account doubles. Now that's what I call return on investment. That you give and then your stock doubles, I'll take that investment anytime. That's why my wife, back in 2007, she said, you just preach, I'll work a job, support us, you work. Now, why did she say that? Because she understands from Prabhupada that any devotional service I do, she gets half, automatically. So she's counting on that. So, in this way, I am free all day to hear, chant, preach, and that's why I'm here. And I love coming to this Zoom program because I love seeing another aspect of ISKCON Africa. Yes, I also visited Africa in 2008. I was invited to Durban, so I was there. I was there twice for one of my disciples' weddings, and then I was invited by this devotee, can't remember, PRABHU or something. Anyway, he's in charge of one of the, because in Durban, I think there's 2 temples. So he was in charge of one of them. So he arranged for me to come, and I was very happy to be there, to see Krishna consciousness in Africa. Beautiful, beautiful. So, the end of my lecture, chant Hare Krishna, take Krishna Prasad, preach, 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 and see how your life becomes sublime. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, kripasindubhya evacha, patitanang pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Please forgive that I am puffed up, I am arrogant, I am a rascal, but somehow or other, Prabhupada still allows me to speak. Sometimes lately now, when people ask me, Prabhu, how you doing? I say, yes, I live to chant another day. All right? What would you like me to do now?
Well, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, as always. Thank you for striking the all-important chord as to how Srila Prabhupada, even though he was having his transcendental bliss in Vrindavan, but had to come to the West just for a useless individual like myself to have the opportunity to take to Krishna consciousness. So oftentimes we take Srila Prabhupada's struggles for granted.
Yes.
And we did not become serious as to try to please him. Like you rightly said, the surest way to try to please Srila Prabhupada is we ourselves becoming devotees and trying to make others devotees. Mm-hmm. So thank you for reminding us of this. And dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections, realizations. Hare Krishna. Well, Prabhuji, I do not mean to embarrass you. I do not mean to make you feel uncomfortable, but there is a feeling that I've been having all along, and somehow, Krishna is so kind. One of my God brothers shared one message in one of our platforms, and it confirms what I had been thinking of all along. And that is the more reason why I try my little best to express my appreciation and would want to render whatever service to Srila Prabhupada's disciples. And this is a conversation Srila Prabhupada had in his room in February 16th, 1977. And so Srila Prabhupada says, all of you, Srila Prabhupada was referring to his disciples, all of you, you are simply born because the mission was to be started. Just like in Yaduvamsa, Krishna ordered all the devotee demigods to go and take birth there to help me. That's Krishna speaking. So similarly, you were born in Europe, America, to help this. Otherwise, you were devotees in your past lives. I've explained that in my recent writings. The first of all, Mam Eti goes to Krishna where his pastime is going on, and then they are transferred to the original. So all the devotees picked up and they were placed together where Krishna is having his pastimes in either of these innumerable universes. So this is the opportunity we have. But the problem we have, like Prabhuji was saying, that the challenge is now we have it. How do we make good use of it? And Maya is so strong and intelligent that she tricks us in so many ways. But with your years of experience being a devotee, if you may share with us one or two things that have kept you going despite the challenges here and there, you still hold on to your devotional service, trying to please Srila Prabhupada and the devotees. If you may share with us one or two things that have kept and keep you going, so that we may also try to apply into our lives and never leave Srila Prabhupada's shelter. Hare Krishna.
This is quite a beautiful, delicious question. Bravo. I love it. So, first of all, I actually said this recently in a lecture I gave. And that is, for me, with Prabhupada, it was love at first sight. The very first words I read, it was a pamphlet, Transcendental Teachings of Prahlad. And from the beginning paragraph, I said, oh my God, this is what I have been looking for all my life. Finally. And then when I turned the pamphlet over, there was a picture of Prabhupada like this. And he looked blissfully stern. He looked like, and I said, yes, this is my guru. Because in the early 70s, that was the big thing. Because of the Beatles and Maharishi, then it became trendy. Everybody had to have a guru. And every other week, another guru or incarnation was coming to America. And anytime I would see, I would go, these people are all nonsense, gobbledygook, garbage, go away. But as soon as I read Prabhupada's words, immediately, boom, it struck. Then, of course, seeing Prabhupada, oh my God. Seeing Prabhupada was just, I closed my eyes, and there's a couple of moments I can still remember being there. Especially the Leela that I'm most famous for. In 1975 in Atlanta, when I asked Prabhupada in the Sunday feast, Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? And Prabhupada said, if you love Krishna. Why do I stick with Prabhupada? First of all, I love the devotees. I've met so many interesting people through my 50 years of ISKCON, different temples, different countries, and so many fascinating, interesting people I have met. Far out, we used to say in the 60s. Far out, man, far out. That's what it's like with devotees. Because every devotee has their story. And their story is wonderful. Then, of course, prasad. How could I leave Krishna consciousness? Where else am I going to get prasad? You can't get prasad. It has to be from devotees. That's prasad. I'm talking ISKCON prasad. Cooked in ghee. Samosa. Okay. Then you could say a very significant event was the day I got second Brahmin initiation. It was in Vrindavan. And the secretary, Prabhupada's secretary at that time was Brahmananda, who also went to Africa. So Brahmananda knew me from before. So he was this was in Vrindavan, 1975. So I was told there were 2 temple presidents, and they said, yes, you're going to get Brahmin initiation. So when it came time, you had to go check in with Brahmananda. And Brahmananda took a look at me and he said, Nirantara, you can't go to Prabhupada looking like that. Because what happened was, my dhoti was not properly dry. It was still wet. But it was the only dhoti I had. So it was still wet. And Brahmananda looked at me and said, you can't go to Prabhupada. So I started to freak out. So fortunately, I met one of my senior godbrothers, and they let me use his dhoti. He had a dhoti. So then I went back to Brahmananda. He said, okay, that's better. Then he held out the Brahmin thread, all nice and neat, wrapped around. He said, here's your first test. Unravel it. And of course, I got it all look like spaghetti. And Brahmananda said, Nirantara, I don't think you're ready. And I almost started to cry. But I guess Brahmananda liked me. So he took out a new one, unraveled it, and he said, okay, go see Prabhupada. So the desk was outside. So you go into wherever Prabhupada's room was at that time. And Prabhupada is sitting on the floor. And so when I enter, he pats the seat, the asan next to him, indicating, sit next to me. So I came in. I'm pretty sure I paid my obeisances, I hope, but I'm pretty sure I did. And I sat right next to Prabhupada, just right next to him. So he had a sheet with all the mantras. Now, I'm good at Sanskrit, even back then, so word for word, Om, and I would have to repeat Om, Bur. So we went through all 7 mantras, and I was thinking, oh, I'm good, because I was good at that. Then it came time to put on the thread. And so I thought I was being helpful. So I raised my left arm as if to help, and Prabhupada took his hand and went like this. And he looked straight at me and said, "Have you not seen the others?" And I was like face to face. I just went. And then within a second, Prabhupada's whole face changed. And he looked like a loving grandfather and said, "Oh, all right." And he put the thread on. I was so freaked out. I just ran out of the room. I didn't talk to him. I was just so embarrassed. I felt so stupid, idiot. Here was my chance. And that's the story of my life. I'm a stupid idiot. So from that, ever since then, I said to myself, just see how merciful Prabhupada is. I should not have gotten the Brahmin, right? The dhoti was wet. I got the Brahmin thread entangled. And Prabhupada said, "Have you not seen the others?" Meaning, what are you don't see how everybody wears their Brahmin thread? What are you, a knucklehead? And still, he gave it to me. So I said to myself, because Prabhupada was like that, I have to be like that with others. I have to be tolerant, forgiving. What keeps me going? I love preaching. I love it. One astrologer told my wife, "Oh, your husband, he's one big mouth. All of his planets are in his mouth." So I realized he's true. My success, my potency is my speaking, is my voice. That's the only thing I can do. I can eat and I can preach and sing and talk. So I enjoy it. I love it. Before being a devotee, I was an entertainer. I used to play in bars and clubs as a solo singer with guitar. I was a hippie, but I was performing. So if I'm not doing Krishna consciousness, I'm going to go back to being a singer, a busker. But in Krishna consciousness, you get to do a lot more. You get to sing, talk, and I love sharing, especially sharing Prabhupada's purports to the audience. So, when all else fails, preach, read. Everything begins from hearing. Every day I start the day, I have to hear Prabhupada's voice in the form of singing. I have an iPod, all of Prabhupada's bhajans and kirtans. I have to hear Prabhupada's voice. I hear Prabhupada's voice, I'm in Vaikuntha. How's that?
So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wow. Yeah. But one thing though, Prabhu, is that I've come across few devotees who claim that they love Srila Prabhupada. They would do anything, everything to please Srila Prabhupada. Yet, they are not willing to stay in the organization that was built by Srila Prabhupada called ESCOM. And their argument, sometimes the argument is that Srila Prabhupada is not limited to ESCOM, the organization. Srila Prabhupada can be loved by anyone, anywhere, anytime. But I feel that should not be the case. I do not know what you may want to say in this regard. Somebody saying that, of course, I love Srila Prabhupada. I appreciate all the sacrifices he made for the world. I read his books, I study his books, but I cannot be a member of his organization.
Yes, I understand that. I deal with that a lot. And I can understand their point of view. And so here's the thing. Prabhupada addressed this, that yes, if you want to live outside the temple, that's all right, but you have to follow all the rules and regulations. That's the key. Are you following the rules and regulations? And especially who you're going to associate with. So you may have a problem with the particular temple's management, or you may have a problem with the politics. Every temple's got their politics. I've been all over the world, not just ISKCON, any Hindu temple, any corporate, anywhere you go, politics is there. You can't escape it. Now, still, if you can't live in the temple, still, and you want to live outside, you still have to follow the rules and regulations. And the question is, who are you going to associate with? You still have to associate with devotees. And I know, I'm one of them. I don't live in the temple. But I have to still have association of devotees. Because if you don't associate with the devotees, then you're going to associate with non-devotees. And as soon as you start to associate with non-devotees, mad elephant offense, it gets loose. So, yes, that's okay. You want to live outside. You don't want to be part of the institution directly. That's okay. You still have to follow the rules. And the question now is, who are you going to associate with? Association is everything. Association is so powerful. And again, if you're not associating with devotees, then, like here where I live, there's over 600 units, right? Everybody has at least one dog. Some of them have two. And you see them every morning doing their dog puja, cleaning up. Because in America, you have to have the plastic bag, and when the holy dog passes the stool, you have to take the remnants and clean it up. So, people now would rather associate with dogs than other human beings. I'm just saying. But the point is, you're going to associate with somebody. Who are you going to associate with?
Well, I I totally agree with you. Like my proud self, I don't live in the monastery, but I try to find ways and means to associate
There you go, then.
with the
Wait,
Buddhists.
where's my bell? Wait.
And if even I went to a particular temple and associated with them, and I felt I don't seem to get along with them, I'll go to another temple within ISKCON. But there are others who abandon the entire ISKCON completely, and again, it claims that they are followers of Srila Prabhupada. But I have also heard that Srila Prabhupada had said that if we truly love him and want to please him, we have to work together.
Oh, yes.
In this house called ISKCON. And that's why I am wondering how someone could say that he is prepared to serve and please Srila Prabhupada, but is not willing to belong to ISKCON, especially if this person was once an ISKCON member.
So, one thing about ISKCON and spiritual life, we're talking about so many levels and layers. So, bottom line, you want to be a member of ISKCON. Bottom line, you accept Prabhupada, you chant 16 rounds, and you follow the 4 regulative principles. That's the bare minimum. You can be considered a member of ISKCON. Now, if you want to get to a higher stage, then that's available. Association with devotees. Take on important service. Service is big because Prabhupada told us time and time again, you can't imitate Haridas Thakur. So you can spend 2-3 hours hearing and chanting. What about the rest of the day? So that's why we have service, whether it be deity service, book distribution, Harinam, Zoom preaching, some Ratiyatra, you need a service or services. Yes, you have to be engaged in Krishna consciousness.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. And personally, and I believe the rest of the devotees will also agree with me, that our prayer is after we've come in contact with Srila Prabhupada and his devotees and his teachings, and we have some little taste for it. We never slack, we never give it up, but try to develop more taste. I listened to one song. It says, the sign of a true unconditional love is that the love keeps growing.
Ah, yes.
So our prayer is that whatever little thing we're doing will increase more and more to the glory and satisfaction of Srila Prabhupada. This is our prayer to you, our dear uncle. And please, you may deliver this message to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada on our behalf.
May you get the full blessings of Srila Prabhupada. Full blessings. And one thing I've been saying a lot lately to your generation, us Prabhupada people, much longer. I just turned 75. I don't know, maybe I have 5 years, maybe 10 years. Oh my God. So our time is coming up. The movement will be in your hands. So my order to you, Sahadev, keep Prabhupada as the center of ISKCON. As long as Prabhupada remains the founder Acharya and he's not replaced by somebody else, as long as Prabhupada is founder Acharya, you'll be protected. Oh, somebody likes that.
Jai, Jai, Jai.
Right now, I would beg permission to
Yes.
go.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I would like to give a blessing to all the devotees here. First, I want to give a big hug to all of you because I love devotees. And may Krishna bless you, protect you, and my final message, read Prabhupada's purports. The juice, the nectar, the hidden secrets is there in the Bhaktivedanta purports. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All
Jai.
glories to ISKCON Africa.
Jai, 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 Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. One quick note, Prabhuji, before you leave, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute themselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation.
Oh, good. I
to our
need a
revered
blessing.
uncle. Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Pancha kalpa tarayascha kripa sindhivyacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo. All glories to His praise. Nirantara Prabhu ki jai.
Thank
All
you.
glories to
Hare Krishna
Prabhupada
Africa.
ki
Thank
jai.
you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Bol.